Hi, it's John here from thenailschool.co.uk. Today I'm just generally going to talk about the SNS products, what they're used for and what you actually need to do the SNS nails. Right, if you're going to do tips, then you need the glue. Now obviously you could use any glue, but if you're going to stay with the SNS branding, then you need to get the SNS glue. And I always go by the caps, the colour of the caps, to save any confusion on the different kinds of products that you need in these bottles here. The tips I always use Edge Active tips. Now I like these tips because they've got a small well and there's less likely to get air trapped under them. Also, you don't get so much of the nail covered up with the tip itself, therefore the extension is going to be stronger. So I always use Edge Active tips. But that's the nail glue. That's quite straightforward. You just brush it onto the tip and stick it onto the nail. Now obviously you've got to do all your nail prep in the usual way. That's your dry manicure, shaping the nails, and if you're putting tips on, you'll need to blend the tips in so that they are invisible, and then you start doing your nails. So EA Bond is a white top, as we see here, and EA Bond is a primer. Now all the new gels that SNS produce are what we call pre-bonded, but most people that I know are still using the primer, so I would recommend that you still use the primer. And the primer goes on to the natural part of the nail, so if you've got a tip on, it's just towards behind the tip up to the cuticle. If it's a natural nail, then obviously the primer is going to go on the whole of the nail plate. So you just brush along all your nails with the primer. The green top or gel base is your to work with the natural set powder. Now your natural set powder is your base powder for going underneath your colour on the natural nail. Otherwise you probably do one layer of natural set under your colour on the natural nail, just to give that nail a little bit more strength and to get better adhesion. Now when I'm using this on the natural nail, what I'll do is I'll put my gel base on, I'll dip into my powder, and then I will seal it with the sealer dry, which we'll come onto in a minute. Obviously when I'm using it on tips, I'll put one down the centre of the nail halfway up, dip into my powder, dust off with my little brush any surplus powder, then I will put another layer of gel base 3/4 of the way up, side to side across the nail, and dip into the powder again, brush off the surplus, then I'll put one more layer all the way to the back of the nail up to the cuticle, not overlapping the cuticle of course, and then I will dip into my powder and then just dust off lightly and then seal it with the sealer dry. Now that's how I would do a tip, and then I would when they're fully dried, I will buff them over with a 100 grit white block and then start applying my colours. So gel base works with natural set. One more thing about the natural set here, you can use this powder to do your infills, and this is what I recommend that you do the infills with. You've got your Gelouche base. Now that works with all your Gelouche powders and that's basically all your colour powders, and it's got the purple top, so just remember to use this one with this one. It does say on both of them Gelouche base and Gelouche colour powder, so it's not really that confusing, you can just see it on there. Now use that with that. Now we'll come on to the sealer dry. Now the sealer dry sets the gel bases when it's mixed with the powder, you put this onto the, after you've dipped, you put this sealer dry onto the top of the nail, and this actually sets the gels. Now, what's really important with the sealer dry is that you must never reapply gel to the nail plate before the sealer dry has dried completely. Otherwise, your brush will go hard, and then you have to soak it in the brush saver liquid until it goes soft again, which can take overnight. So don't apply gels on top of a nail that you've sealed before it's completely dry, otherwise you will have that problem of the brush going hard. We've got cuticle oil here, or bitumen oil as they call it, and again you could use any oil of course, but you know, sticking to the branding, here we have the SNS bitumen oil. Now you've also got your French white powder, and you've got your French dip mould as they call it, and what you do with this is that you put your powder into here, give it a shake, you put your green top on the nail plate, and then you just move this up to the nail, up to the smile line that you want to create. Take it out and then dip it straight into the natural set powder, and then if you need to reapply on a second layer, then you'll need to just repeat that, and then all you do then is you just seal it with the sealer dry. Now, a little point when you're doing white here is that when you apply the sealer dry to the pink and whites as we call them, then you need to just first of all tap along the smile line with your sealer, then do the white part, clean your brush, put it into the sealer dry again, and then do the whole nail. That way you've got less chance of transferring white powder to the back of the nail if you do it like that, and that's the way I recommend that you do it. Now we've got natural set shear as well. I actually don't use this powder, although in the instructions it does say to use it. I prefer not to use it, and but what it's very useful for is for if you get some empty pots like these, you can mix your own glitter that you may have, and you would just mix 1 part glitter to 2 parts natural set shear inside here, shake it up, and then there's your own glitter mix that you can use if you particularly got a glitter that you particularly liked. So that's how you can mix it up, but you must use the natural set shear because this is a completely transparent powder. It's crystal clear, and that's the reason you can use it with the glitter to make up your own mixes. So you notice I haven't got any pinks here for the pink and white. That's because I don't use the pink at all. If I'm doing a French white, then I will just let the natural nail, the pink of the natural nail, be the pink of the nail, and I just use the white tip on the end. So I hope that's helped you a little bit. If you've got any questions about the SNS products, please inbox me and I'm sure I'll be able to help you. Oh, there's one more thing that I didn't mention, and I've not shown it here. It's also not shown in the instruction book either, but I'm going to just switch off a sec. I'm going to fetch it and then I'll come back to you. Right, I'm back again. Here is your brush saver. You can see it's got a blue top on this one, and as I said earlier in the video, if you have sealed your nail with the sealer dry, and then you go back to it too soon before it's dried out completely with either a gel brush or your gel top coat brush, you've got a good chance of setting your brush hard, because this sets this. Okay, so then what you'd need to do then is put it into your brush saver. So this is very important. What you do, you take this brush out and you put whatever brushes are gone hard into here, and then you carry on using the brush that comes with the brush saver. Now you probably might need to leave that overnight for it to completely dissolve out, so just be aware of that. It's also a good idea to have 2 bottles of sealer dry, because these do get contaminated with colour. No matter how careful you are, they will gradually start to go discoloured. And so you always want to keep 1 sealer dry, that's the grey top, for using with your green top and your natural set. Then you'll have a really nice clear clean nail. And then with the colours, with these you can use one that's probably started to go discoloured, because you're not going to see it, of the effect on the nail. Right, the gel top, this is your gel top coat, and what you need to do after you've buffed off the nails, after you've applied your colour and so on, you buff off the nails, get your client to wash their hands, no soap, just wash the hands with plain water, and then you would apply a coat of sealer dry to all the nails, and then you'd get some tissue and you'd wipe off the sealer dry, any excess that may be on the nails, and then you would get your gel top coat and you would very quickly just go along and just very quickly, without rubbing this brush into the surface, just go along and put a layer onto the nails. Then you go back to the start, and then you'd be more careful and place the gel top coat on with the second coat, being more careful how you apply it. And then it's just a matter of them waiting for it to dry, which is probably about 5 minutes or so. It doesn't take long to dry. So there's no lamp to be used with this. And the whole idea of the system, in a way, is that it's kind to your nails, and also there's no use of a UV light. Now you need to also make yourself up some samples, and these are quite simple to do. All you do is you don't need your primer or anything like that. You just put your jello space onto here very carefully, and then just dip it into your powder, and then you can put a second layer on, dip it into your powder. And then what I do with these is I use a gel top coat, like a non-sticky top coat under the UV light. It's just a little bit more harder wearing when these are clattering about together on the ring. So that's something else you can do. The brush I've got here is in fact a watercolor brush, just for doing watercolor washes, but you can use any kind of makeup brush, or which has got a very fluffy end, just for dusting off very, very lightly any surplus powder. It's not a good idea to put gel on top of surplus powder that's on the nail, because then you could end up with a lumpy nail, and you certainly don't want that. Now with the sealer dry, I do recommend that when you take it out, your sealer dry out of the bottle, to put it onto your nail, the nail that you've just dipped in the powder. Don't wipe it on the side, just take it straight out and go straight to the nail. That way you'll get a good splodge, I think that's a good word to use, a good splodge of sealer dry onto the nail, so that it's got a chance of penetrating through all the layers. Now, as I just said before, if you've got any questions, please inbox me on Facebook or on the YouTube. Just ask me your questions and I'll try and help you with them. So it's bye for now, and see you next time.